and then from Detroit to,
Wait, wait.
to
I apologize, guys. I apologize. And it is what it is. Hey, family, welcome to the Straight Talk Morning Show. We are live right now,
All right.
and yeah, go ahead, take it away.
Okay. Well, Grand Rising, everybody. This is the Straight Talk Morning Show. My name is Andre Hill. I'm your host, and we have a full panel here. We got some interesting topics. As usual, waking our people up, man, is an arduous task, but they're going to wake up and figure it out, especially after this video that we're going to start out with. So we're going to open up the conversation. Shaz is in South Florida. What's going on down in South Florida today, Shaz?
it looks nice outside. I haven't go out yet. I know it's hot. I'm in hot Lauderdale. I know it's steamy hot outside. I don't know anything else that's going on more than what it looks like. So when I step out after this show, I will let you know if I've tried, steamed, or disappeared.
All right. Hey, we got the chairman, Terrence Lake, up in Detroit. And usually it's pretty cool there, but Chairman, what's going on up in Detroit?
Well, right now we've got Grand Rising, everyone. Right now it's 75 degrees, sunny, and it's going to get hot today. But now I'm asking for a little bit of rain just to keep the grass healthy. But other than that, it's a beautiful day. Now, I'll take it.
All right. And also we have Mama Kali right outside of Atlanta, Georgia. Mama Kali, how are you this morning and what's going on in Atlanta?
Do you really want to know what's going on in Atlanta? Yeah.
I know it's strange.
hmm I talked to my friend. I had to call her late last night because things are so strange. This chaos that we're dealing with. But we have a rainy day, and I'm always happy with the rain. It's a rainy day, and I like that.
Wonderful. Also, we have Andre Jr., our engineer. He is still in Canada. Hey, man, you disappeared from the screen. What's going on with you?
I got you. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna be here. I'm gonna have my camera off just so my computer is gonna maintain good connection throughout the show. But I'm definitely here. Um, but yeah, still up in Canada and family. I'm coming back. I'll be back. I ain't moved to Canada. I'll be back Monday morning,
Gonna fool me.
so yeah, I'll be back home for a little while, but I'll also be coming back to Canada a little shortly after that.
I know that's
You,
right.
I heard the
you
little
don't want
while. I
to
heard that part. Yeah, when you put it snuck it in there.
little,
A little while.
little while. That blame it on my father. He told me when I was a young guy, when I was a young man. He said we international brothers, so we may be everywhere.
That's right. Global,
All right.
universal.
So, hey, Shaz, if you can load up that video with the Caucasian woman and expressing her state of mind. And while you're loading it up, first and foremost, I did my take yesterday on, what the topics of the show. And I wanted to express, as a scientist, as a metaphysical scientist, I understand why we're in different bodies and why we have, in the situations, whether it's the family. And I want to let the audience know, we do not hate Caucasian people. We just want to help the illusion to help dissipate the illusion for both groups, for Aboriginal, Native, Indian Americans, and Caucasians. And we can do that by, just like Trump is an expression of everything that this woman is talking about.
Just
And so that insecurity or that predicament of being in those bodies is a representation. That's not the one. It's the
yeah, just a minute. Just a
oh,
minute.
okay. So we want to help our people to understand that um, this system is designed to operate just the way it's operating. You can't. It's not designed for us to fix it. And there is a statement, I think, in the Constitution that says when a government is no longer serving the people, it needs to be dismantled and a new government established. So that's where we are. In the case of Aboriginal, Native, Indian Americans, we have the power and the authority to run our own government. The invading species, they did their thing, and they tested us, and we survived after 400, 500 years in America. So go ahead, Chaz, and hit play on that, and then we're going to let the panel expand on what's going on.
Reason white people hate black people is because we cannot tolerate black joy. We cannot tolerate black intelligence. We cannot tolerate black beauty. We cannot tolerate black confidence. We cannot tolerate black camaraderie. We cannot tolerate anything that frees a black person. There's a level of racism that I think hits differently for black people than it does for Asian people or Hispanic people or Middle Eastern people or Native Americans even. Each one of those things that people think regarding other races are different with black people, I think. Because again, we don't like black people to be educated. We don't like them to be successful. We don't want black judges. We don't want anything for black people that doesn't directly affect and entertain us. So we can have a black nanny. We can have a black house cleaner. We can have a black teacher. We can have a black coach. We can have black players. But only for the specific things that we feel comfortable with. I think about all those sweet children that have been killed, murdered, when they go out with their white friends. And I think that as much as the trauma of slavery comes down through the DNA, I think also the cruelty of slavery, the desire to hurt, the desire to steal and kill and humiliate and torment and disappear black people is what comes down through the DNA. I think when you do something like that for long enough and you pass it down for the many years that slavery and enslaved people were in chains, that is an instinct with us, cruelty. And I think you can see it in many videos. All the white women and white men that are telling black kids and black families to get the hell out of here, you don't belong. We just don't want you to have more than us, honey. We just don't want you to be prettier. We don't want you to be the beauty standard. We don't want you to be judges or anything like that. We want you to be below us, beneath us. And we've tried so hard to keep you down, and we failed so badly. Because like Maya Angelou said, still you rise. We may hate you, we may beat you, we may do those things, and it makes us crazy that you keep coming back and getting better. We can't stand it. I don't know why that is.
Hey,
I think
okay.
I heard somebody say that white people are the ones that have the ancestors that were closely related to the apes. And I believe that. We are so similar to Cro-Magnon man, Neanderthals. We're fucking pale monsters.
All right, Shaz, hold it. So, Mama Kali, was this woman up drinking too much, or is she speaking from the heart?
She just told the truth. You know that all the so-called races on the earth, they all have, they all have Neanderthal DNA, except us. We are the only 100% human. And it's been proven. It's been proven. And they reluctantly actually say it. I've seen many geneticists talk about it. It's absolutely true. And she just stated the truth. I'm happy that she named all those categories that make white people very uncomfortable. The only thing that they are comfortable with is when we are in chains, and they wish they could do it again, but they can't. That day is past. In fact, their um, their aim to get rid of us is their demise. And we've got the help of the sun. We are the children of the sun. And we are the ones who will be elevated through these coronal rejection, not rejections, ejections that are happening with the sun right now. I mean, our sun is really cutting up right now and changing the earth in so many ways. But let me tell you, that woman told the truth. You know, like George Wallace, maybe some of you don't remember when George Wallace was running for president. You know, he said he was actually trying to get the indigenous people of Alabama and the poor whites to come together, and they said no. The whites, the poor whites, they said, you know, all we don't want indoor toilets, we don't want water, we don't want electricity. All we want is to know that we are better than Black people. And that is the truth. I remember that very, very well. And so she just told the truth. And I'm very happy that she did, because she exposed that not only to her own people, but to everybody else. I mean, these videos go worldwide. And I'm pretty sure they've seen it on every continent. But the truth of the matter is that they all the other races, the Chinese, the Europeans, the Mongolians, all of them, they have Neanderthal DNA. And as she spoke, it's passed down through the genes. That cruelty, that animalistic behavior, they can't help themselves. But it will be their demise, because like she said, and like Maya Angelou said, and still we rise. No matter what anybody does to us, we still rise.
All right. Hey, Chairman, you have friends and associates, and even some family members from that are Caucasian. And do they concur with this woman's expressions or attitude?
Well, with my relatives over in Canada, you know, they love Black people. And that's a fact because I've experienced the true love, to treat me like I was one of them. I've never had no vitriol, no hate. I married a white woman, I have a child by that white woman, and that their family, even though I'm divorced, they still treat me with utmost respect. Now, I know that there are some whites that don't like Blacks because I've experienced it in the United States where I was almost killed a couple times, you know. But yeah, I think it's less and less of the white race that don't want to accept Blacks. I can't see it that they all hate Black people and want our demise. I know they're jealous of us. Even the ones that like and love me, they show a little jealousy. They speak it because they know what we have. If we knew what they knew, we would be on top, but we're not. We're rising, we're conquering what we will, but you still got an opposition of them that see us moving the way we're moving, and they want to do everything they can to slow it down because they know they can't stop it. You know, whites have fought whites throughout history. As long as there's been a recorded history, whites have fought whites. It's just like blacks have fought blacks too. Go to Africa and see what's going on over there. It's real. But you can't put all whites in the same category, and you can't put all blacks. In this life, you have positive and negative. You can't have one without the other. It's just the way it is. But you got to be positive if you want to survive and thrive. Because if you're negative, you're going to self-destruct. You know, and like I say, things are changing, but there are still a proportion of them that hate our hate to look at us because they're jealous. You know, I've had white friends that I've worked with in the States and say, "Oh, you so lucky you got that beautiful skin." I can't stand it. And she didn't mean it to throw stones at me. She just liked what she saw. And they know what's going on. We just got to get ourselves together. We can't worry about what other people think because sometimes we have family members that don't care for us, you know. But we got to get ourselves together and conquer what we will because it's just a known fact, We were put here to get along. Even though we've been fighting each other, it's still, you know, it, we got to come together as a human race and learn how to live in harmony with each other. And you could live in your house, I could live in my house, but when we're out in society, let's respect each other, and it'll be a beautiful world. There's only one way it can be a heaven on earth, and that's for us to come together because we can't continue to fight and do what we're doing like Ukraine and Russia, like the revolution that's going on in Russia has been happening for over 20 years, and we don't know about it because they don't tell us. Some of us know, but the majority don't realize what's going on, and those are white nations. But we got to come together and turn this into a heavenly environment. I'll land that plane.
So, Chairman, real quick before I pass the ball on, do you think the ones that really express their love and appreciation for you, will they participate in relinquishing this illusionary power and control over us, and even contribute their resources to put us back in our rightful position?
I can honestly say some of them, yes, but then they're being bombarded with negativity of seeing how blacks are upward mobility, conquering what they will. And that does put fear in them because they see that blacks aren't putting up with what they put up with in the past. So they're afraid that we're going to take revenge. And we're not a revengeful people. We just want things to be right. But there are some that I know that they have that fear, that, hey, when blacks take over, they're going to do to us what we did to them, and that's not the case.
All right, now I understand what Muhammad Ali was saying. If there are 100,000 of them coming at me, there's only 1,000 that are benevolent. How I'm going to tell which one is the right? So I get it now, Muhammad Ali. Hey, Shaz. So when you were growing up in Trinidad, was this the same mentality, or was the Caucasians there benevolent and encouraging to your culture?
Okay, so I'll go back to my childhood, right? I went to a very prestigious prep school where like all the foreign dignitaries and all the, high valued people, their kids went there, right? So I grew up being friends with people from Australia, from Germany, from England, from France, Tanzania, just from everywhere. India, my best friend was from India. Her father was the ambassador for India and Trinidad. So I didn't experience that. And I'll tell you, the first anti-Black thing that was probably said to me was by a Black teacher. All right. We're very British. The school was very British. The whole system was British. But the first day I went to school with my hair in an afro, she asked me who gave me permission to come to school with a bird nest on my head. And I was probably like 10 years old, right? And I didn't think it was meant to be her ignorance, like to even say something like that. Like none of the white teachers or any other teachers said anything, but she said it. Now, with that said, we had like only 1% of other people in Trinidad. Trinidad is predominantly Black people and East Indian people. And then you have 1%, which will include the Chinese, the Syrians, the white people, right? Coming to the United States in New York, I did not experience it. The first time I heard somebody say, "Oh, look, some niggas," was in Tampa
What?
in 1986. Now, again, let me be serious. In Trinidad, you call somebody a nigga, you call somebody a coolie. The Indian people, they call them coolie. They call the Black people niggas, and it was nothing. Like we didn't even think about how degrading that was. It was just common. We said, "Oh, the coolie girl down the road," but they're talking about the Indian person because we didn't know what coolie meant, and they probably didn't know what nigga meant. And then they start calling us Creoles, right? They'd be like, "Oh, the Creole people," but they mean Black people. So, but like I said, the first time I heard that, some kids or some teenagers that drove by, and I'm like, "Oh, that's kind of offensive." So then living in South Florida, man, like they just think they own this town. And I have this habit of referring to Caucasian people as niggas. I call them niggas when they're trying to step to me out of line and out of pocket. I just tell them, I do not deal with niggas. And I point right in that. Because I know it's not what you call me is what I answer to, but they behave negatively. So, but I've seen it. My son has had more of an experience with the racism because he went to school here. I had him in private school from the time he was 10 years old. And as he grew old, and he told me the things that were being said to him in school as a Black kid from the Caribbean. He had the accent. He was light skinned, but he's a Black child. And then the police harassment constantly, because where we lived, there weren't too many Black people. Where my salon was, There wasn't too many Black people, but then I didn't see any signs when I moved here that told me that I should not or could not live in a particular neighborhood, that I should not or could not drive a particular car. So those barriers were not there for me. I didn't see the boundaries, and therefore I thought these people just need to know how to coexist with other people. But it was not an experience for them. The harassment from the police was bad. A lot of times they were bringing my son home. Like, what happened? He was just walking in the street. He was just walking, coming home. And they don't believe, okay, we live in this neighborhood. So, I've seen that. And I would admit it, but I do not allow non-Black people to block me from what I want to do. I don't allow it. I show up in rooms where they probably didn't think I should be there. People are like, well, how come she's here? I'm there. I show up as myself, authentic. And they just have to accept me because I'll speak from the heart. I don't have no filters when I have to speak to them. I don't. But because I always see it as an area of opportunity for education, because a lot of them aren't educated. I would give an example of the nail tech that worked in my salon. She's Jewish. And then last year when that was a guy named something Chris that was killed. Kirk something. The one that was assassinated. I went to the shop
Charlie
and she
Kirk.
was like, Charlie Kirk. She was so upset. I'm like, what happened? She was crying. And she says, I can't believe they killed him. They killed him. I'm like, who? And then she said, this guy. And she said, he's Christian, but he loves Jews and he is for Israel. And they killed him. And so when she showed me the picture, I said, oh, girl, I stopped following him a long time ago. I said, because he referred to our kids as predators. He referred to Black kids as thugs and all this. I said, so I don't even listen to him. I don't care what he has to say. So she was not aware of that. And I sent her a video. And she winded up apologizing. And she says, I'm so sorry. She says, Shaz, I'm not going to be involved in politics anymore. I said, this has nothing to do with politics. I said, this is real. This is what happens. This is what we have to face that you don't know about. It says, you come to America and you stay within your community. You go to your synagogue. You go to your schools, you have your group, you're there, you have the protection. I say your child hasn't had this experience because she goes to the Jewish school and she's with her Jewish friends and stuff. So this is an area of education for her that she needs to be exposed to things outside of that because this is actually going on in America. I have a client that's a rabbi and he had said to me, this was after George Floyd was murdered. He said, that he did not pay attention before. But because of what happened to George Floyd, he became somebody that was really attentive. He said that's when he was noticing that if he went to a restaurant, he and his family, they were treated differently. Or if they had to get stuff done, they were treated differently. He didn't notice it before then. And he says, I'm Jewish, but he says, I'm not white. He said, we identify as white. He says, we are mutts. But we identify as white. He says, one thing that I don't have to worry about is my son getting pulled over for driving a luxury car, getting pulled over by the police and getting killed.
Okay.
So they know the code.
So let me ask you this question. Do you think, we still have our people that wants to fix this system and do you think we can fix this system? Or do we need to start our own government and separate? And after you do that, introduce Michelini. Yes,
yes, I will.
Introduce her and let us know where you're from. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, no, we just need to, why are we trying to fix it? Why are we trying to fix it? It's like, okay. The way that I see it is that we want to fit in to a situation where we were not born to fit into that situation. We were created to be the example. We don't have to fit into them. They're supposed to fit into what we're doing. So we have to show them that we're not dependent on them. We're not reliant on them. I would say segregation is probably the worst thing that happened in America. So we just need to do our stuff. Just leave them over. They need to leave us alone. Okay? And we do our stuff. We start our own nation. And then they have to pay us to come in. Let me introduce Michelin. Micheline, thank you so much for joining us today. Micheline, what city are you in?
Sorry,
What city are you in now?
the year?
What
City.
city are you in?
Oh, state. Sorry, I'm in Florida.
I know, but what city?
Tavares.
Tavares. Okay, I couldn't remember what it was when I was talking about you. So I met Micheline a couple of years ago, and we were having our own conversation in the midst of people that were so colonialized in their whole construct that they didn't understand what we were saying. You know, she's a practicing metaphysician herself, a former first lady that learned the truth and decided to change things. Okay, she's Haitian heritage, and we were talking this morning that she's just dying to go back to Haiti right now. So, welcome.
Good morning, everyone. I'm pleased to be here. I attended, I think, a previous team meeting you guys have. I was a little quiet. I was only in the chat room. But good morning, and thank you for the invitation, Shaz. And thank you for having me. Yes, I am Micheline Mimos Exantus. I'm Haitian. I was born in Haiti to Haitian parents. I speak, I read, I write a different language, Creole, which is our native language. Well, the one that's closest for us. It's a dialect mixed with a little bit of French and African dialect. Also, a little bit of the Taino dialect that was on the island prior to them bringing my ancestors to the island of Dominica. So, thank you so much for having me.
Okay, so
Welcome.
you are former first lady. Um, I'm coming straight at you. So, are you now becoming more conscious? And what is your advice to our people that are still stuck in the church system, or do you think that they should stay in it, or they need to come, they need to get into involved with this metaphysical Aboriginal movement?
Okay. A little bit of correction. I was not a first lady. I was a deaconess,
A
or
deaconess.
a minister. Yes, I did spend 30 years in the church. I attended Bible college for 2 years. Operated a lot of positions within the church. Pretty much raised my two grown daughters in the church. We came up in the church at the time when I was married. I'm currently divorced. And so I've seen a lot of things and been in many denominations. We started off at Church of God. We went to the Baptist. We did non-denomination, and we did Church of God in Christ. So um, we came up in the church. I can say my daughters will tell you that they were raised in the church. But I functioned through the church and tried so many different avenues because I was trying to find a place to belong. I didn't fit. I didn't belong. And I tried everything. Preach on the pulpit, preach on the prisons, preach on the streets, Bible study taught it, Sunday school taught it, communion taught it, newcomers membership class taught it, all age groups taught it, greet, ushered, did it. Choir member did it. Choir director did it. Praise team leader did it. And I could not fit in because of my roots. And so, in the culture, the Haitian culture, a lot of people are not aware. Um, we that were born on the island itself, we are connected to the land in the sense that when our umbilical cords fell off, our parents had a ceremony and buried it in the ground on our plantation, the piece of land that belonged to us. And so, with that being said, a lot of us that are Native Haitians has a call. There's a call. The land calls to us to come back home, or called on us either to go for a visit. You'll find Haitians that will tell you that they have to go back home to get recharged.
Mm.
When we get back home and we set our feet onto the land, I'm sorry, I kept my phone on my mic off because my daughter's dog is so rude. But when we go back home, it's a charge for us. It's an electric charge. It's a cosmetic charge. There's an energy. There's healing for us, for our bodies. There's everything that's involved in that. So yes, I told Chaz I'm ready to move back home. I really am. I'm going to let the dog out. All of that. She's going to continue to interrupt me. Excuse me.
So while she's doing that, Shaz, can you prepare to load up the other video?
I will.
So this video that she's loading up, it's going to help us understand why our Black businesses are disappearing and why it's going to be very difficult to staying in this European economic system and surviving with a business. But go ahead, Micheline, finish what you were saying.
Okay, so that's about me. To answer your questions, whether or not as if we should explore, you were telling me explore this aberrations or explore the. Repeat that question again.
So do we need to stay in this religion that was given to us by, I'm going to change it up now, given to us by the slave master, and what you've already demonstrated, you worked in every aspect of it, and you was very polite saying I didn't fit in. Can you just say it's hypocrisy?
Yes, I can. I can say it is hypocrisy. It was created for a purpose that a lot of our people are not aware of. And I could tell you today, I'm not in it. I no longer identify myself as Christian. I don't subscribe to organized religion. I do, however, practice spirituality. That means taking my shoes off and going outside in the dirt and reconnecting with earth. And so that means recharging my energy, my cosmetic energy, or my person's, my aura, my spirituality, connecting to that. So no, I don't subscribe to the organized religion. So yes, I would encourage us to explore outside of the religion that was created for us, because the religion that was created for us is not the same religion that most others practice. If that makes sense.
That makes a lot of sense to me.
Yes.
We just hope that, the people that can resonate with your frequency can hear that if they might be on the fence, are still going there every Sunday, and it takes away from the movement of us getting back in position, because I put a call out to all Caucasian men. I know they're sociopaths by instinct, and they need to resign from all the political offices and positions, and find a melanated person to take their position while they go get some psychotherapy treatment.
That is easier said than done, because coming up in the church and teaching Sunday school, it is a programming, it is a brainwashing. And so that takes place because they handpick or selectively pick which scriptures that you're going to recite, repeat on a regular basis. Wow. And what you start to recite and receive or practice or just continually saying it take root and becomes exactly what they wanted. So you become so rooted into it, it's not as easy for them to walk away from it. It takes spoon feeding them reality and knowledge and comparing the truth, provide spoon feeding them the truth on a slow basis. You can't shove it into their mouths. You have to spoon feed them, because what you're doing is you're undoing a training, a psychological training that has taken place over years.
Wow.
And it starts at the pre-K level, the particular scriptures that you have to recite and stand up. And, one of the things that I used to challenge a lot was the scripture that says, we wrestle not, study to show thyself approved, a workman and need not to be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth. So normally I start with that, rightly dividing the word of truth. You don't have all of the truth, because we don't have all of the books of the Dead Sea Scrolls. And if you don't have all of the books, then you don't have the whole truth. How can you rightly divide it? And so I start with little things like that, and then to kind of spoon feed them before. So education is paramount here. So educate them in the direction that you want to go. You have to start with undoing the programming that was done all the years that they spent in it.
So now I remember, my indoctrination to the church. So then that is, you actually absolutely correct, because that's where the brainwashing come in, and it creates a mental illness.
Mhm.
So okay, well we're gonna go on because we got to get to it. But Miss Eleni, definitely welcome to the tribe. You got a family here. We're gonna be about some things.
Okay.
Go ahead and play that, Sarah.
Let's be nice. They didn't desegregate because they loved us. They desegregated because they couldn't afford to look stupid on the world stage. And they couldn't afford to let us get too powerful without them. After World War II, America was busy trying to sell itself as the leader of the free world. You know, democracy, liberty, justice for all. All the same stuff they were never giving to Black people at home. Meanwhile, the Soviet Union was pointing and laughing. Freedom? Y'all can't even let Black kids drink from the same water fountain. And America? They couldn't bomb their way out of that bad press. So the same people who spent decades lynching us, burning us out of towns, and pretending we didn't exist decided it was time to clean up their image. Desegregation was never about morality. It was always about marketing. One thing they never tell you about desegregation, we weren't begging to sit next to them. We were thriving without them. Black businesses were booming. Black schools were educating future doctors, lawyers, and scientists. Black neighborhoods were self-sufficient. And they couldn't have that. Because if we didn't need them, they couldn't control us. Simple math. But instead of congratulating us, they used desegregation as a way to bulldoze everything we built. Black schools shut down. Black teachers fired by the thousands. Black businesses starved out once the Black dollar started flowing into white businesses. Yeah, they didn't integrate with us. They absorbed what we built and threw the rest away like leftovers. And today they have the nerve to ask why Black communities are still rebuilding. Because y'all didn't just move the goalpost. Y'all burnt the whole field. Desegregation wasn't a handshake. It was a hostile takeover. They didn't open the doors because they respected us. They opened the doors just wide enough to flood everything that we built and call it progress. So the next time somebody tells you to be grateful for desegregation, remind them that we didn't get rights because they loved us. We got them because we fought like hell while they smiled for the cameras. They didn't integrate us. They invaded us. And we're still rebuilding what they couldn't steal. You really think they woke up and said, wow,
Okay.
Black people are human after all.
Mama Khalid,
Let's be nice.
we
They
were
didn't
there in
desegregate
the
because they
50s
loved
and
us.
60s.
They desegregated because they couldn't afford to look
Do you recall all of this? And is this the reason why all of our businesses disappeared?
Did you ask me?
Yes.
Oh, yes. Oh, absolutely. I was in a southern town, a pretty big town right now, and we were totally self-sufficient. We had everything we needed, and we supported each other. And it was a sellout by our own people who pushed for integration. It was a sellout. I'm not sure whether they knew that they were selling us out, but they did. You know, they pushed for integration. I remember it very well. We boycotted, the first thing we boycotted was the grocery stores because there was grocery stores we couldn't go into, but we had our own. And we had even small communal exchanges, like, for instance, in the neighborhood that I grew up in when I was young, I mean, like my first 11 years, one person would like buy 25 pounds of sugar. One person would buy 25 pounds of flour, 25 pounds or 50 pounds of cornmeal. And any of us could go to them and get a cupful that we needed for dinner and pay 5 cents. So that kept money flowing even in the micro economy. But we also had our own hotel. We had our movie theater, we had our bank, we had our savings and loan, a beautiful churches. Although I woke up when I was 12 years old, due to the fact that I really did see that the people, the leadership, they were, uh, they were corrupt. And I saw that when I was 12 years old. But otherwise, the reason why, as a matter of fact, our business district was called Hayti. Instead of Haiti, it was called Haiti.
Mm.
And even now, if I talk to people from that era, we still talk about Haiti because we had everything. I mean, printing press, my father had his own printing machines and everything. I mean, everything we needed was there. And now I do know that the bank is still there, but I remember how they took down the savings and loan. You see, that's not there anymore. And the huge um, insurance company, I can't find it. I was looking for it and I couldn't find it anymore. And so I don't know what happened to that. But we had everything we needed, and our money flowed within the community, even on a micro level. And everybody had what they needed. So I remember that very well. I'm trying to remember. Do you remember what was it, Floyd McKissick? I think he was the head of CORE, Congress on Racial Equality. You
Vaguely,
don't remember him?
vaguely.
Yeah, he was a lawyer and he was pretty much leading that integration move.
Mm.
And of course, later on, they awarded him by giving him an area in on a former plantation. It was called the Green Duke Plantation, and he built a place called Soul City.
Yeah, I
Now, a
remember that.
lot of people never heard of Soul City,
I remember it.
but I lived there. We had a business there. I lived in Soul City. I don't think I've shown you, I'll show you the pictures that were in, what was that, Black Enterprise magazine in that was 1978 or 1979. And so I lived there for a couple of times, for a couple of years. But the problem was they wanted to actually run that place like they were master, especially his wife. I mean, he was like master. And he wanted the lion's share of whatever business you had. And we couldn't survive like that,
Take
you
down.
know. And so we were not long, I think maybe a couple of years in Soul City. And let me tell you what it is now. It's a prison.
Oh, wow. I,
Yes.
Mama Kali, I remember that. So, this is why we support the philosophy of our structure is a matriotic structure. Because I know when our men when we get in power, we turn into demons. With a matriotic structure within our tribal collective, the women are the ones that write the narrative, write the program, you to give life. You the nurturers, the first educators. So, do you think by going that route, the men we got to learn to be secure with ourselves and take the position of protecting and building for you. Do you think that would be the better route to go, Mama Khalid, versus a dictator?
Oh, absolutely. Matriarchy is our only solution. What I find, though, is because our men, our Aboriginal men, have been stripped of power for so long that they want to be the chief beating their chest and making all the decisions and deciding which way to go. Well, that will not build a nation. The reason why we look to matriarchy, because matriarchy puts family first, puts the children first, realizing that the power and the economy and the perpetuity of any nation comes from the womb, and we have to honor the womb. Many men forget that they came from a woman. They believe that narrative that the woman came from a man's rib. Please explain that to me.
So um, one of the things I recognize with the structure of the system in this country is that they remove the woman from the Trinity.
Yes.
That was the first thing they did. They removed woman from the Trinity. And I've said
But
this
that
to a
was the
friend.
Catholic Church.
Well, see, the Catholic Church is part of the Roman Empire, is part of the Vatican, and they're the ones that originally structured what we use for our foundational knowledge, which is that Dead Sea Scroll. The most out of the Catholic religion, because first of all, it was Constantine, which was a Roman Catholic, that wrote the Council of Nicaea in 325 AD to instruct them to assign Christ as the symbol of Christianity.
Absolutely.
So it starts, always have to go back to that Roman foundation, which is still Catholicism, which is still Catholic. And they removed the Trinity, because the Trinity consists of Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. All of it is masculine. They remove the feminine. The African Trinity is Father, Mother, Son, or Father, Mother, Child. That is the structure for the African Trinity. I understand a lot of people that wants to shy away from the African practices, but that would be for us as a melanated people, our foundation, which is the Trinity. The Trinity for us is Father, Mother, Child. But for them, it is Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. All of it is masculine. So now when you have so much masculinity going on, and without that matriarchic, because everything comes from mother.
Absolutely.
Do not incorporate that, number one. Number two, something else you used to mention that I also had to make a note of. One of the most effective strategies that they used for centuries that is still functioning for them today is that divide and conquer.
Oh, absolutely.
And within our own, that now they no longer have to implement that. It has taken root, and we are dividing and conquering ourselves. They just have to sit back and pick up the spoils. Because during slavery days, first of all, when they brought us over, our ancestors over, they divided us. They got us from different countries or different areas, different villages where there were different dialects to begin with. And then they took us, and they, on purpose, if you came from Senegal, they're not going to put you with Senegalese people. They're going to put you with somebody from Nigeria. And the problem is the dialect was different. So therefore they interfere with your communication and your inability to come together and form a unity. That's that brave. You cannot communicate. It's hard for you to come together and form unity. And we lack unity in our own race. And I say that even for my own people back home. We lack that unity because that divide and conquer strategy is still in effect today. And even in our Black communities here in the United States, even within the church or whatever you want it, whichever organization, you're always going to find that one that still feeds into the concept where they took the they picked the darker one and they put them in the fields, and they took the lighter skin ones and they put them inside the house. And so now you have the divide right there, because the dark one out there in the sun thinking the one in the inside is living a better life. The one inside that's suffering because they're suffering abuse, rape, you name it. They're looking at the one that's in the field and they're saying they're free, they have more freedom, and they're your inability to unite at this point. And that was by design, to keep the slavery going on, and no one would come together and escape. And it's the same thing that's taking place today in our African and our melanated community.
So
Why can't we support one another? Why can't we look out for one another and protect one another?
So Michelle, you've read the Willie Lynch letter, the scientific document?
Yes, I've read it.
Okay, so also before we go into final comments, there were Aboriginals already here before the Caucasoids got here.
Yes.
So what was the plan, for them, because they didn't come over on the boats. We were already here. We had technology, schools, everything.
65, I want to say almost 65 years prior, 65,000 years, correction, 65,000 years prior to them invading our space, we as a melanated people were traveling the globe.
Yes.
Traveling the globe, going everywhere. Businesses, exchanges. We were communing with each other and doing business with one another. 65,000 years prior to them doing what they did. So we were here long before them. That's why when they went to Jamaica, they already found blacks that were already there. When they got to Haiti, the Tainos was already there, and there was already blacks there. And I'm pretty sure it's the same for the other islands as well, or even different parts. We were already sailing. We had boats already, and we were already sailing the globe. Absolutely. So yeah, you are absolutely right.
Okay, so we're at the hour, and we need to go ahead into our final statements about the topics of the day. Mama Kali, we keep spilling over with the topics, the one that I wanted you to expand on, but it'll definitely be on top of the list for next Saturday. Also on next Saturday, I want to deal with, we as the tribe, we need to get the United States corporate America government to release all of our melanated military people, because they were indoctrinated or forced into the military because of economic sanctions, false promises. We need to get all of our children released from the military with all benefits, and and let them understand that you're not going to send our children over to fight your white supremacist racist wars. And while your children sit at home in the air conditioning.
Quick, one thing before you, have you heard about the NDAA that just passed Congress yesterday?
I heard.
Is that the one? Is that the one about merging the military, the IDF, with our military?
Yes. That passed Congress yesterday, and it's on its way to the Senate.
Do you know who pushed it?
Well, yes, it was Netanyahu's plan.
The Black Caucus was behind it.
Oh.
Because they are elected and selected by the ADF, by the Jews. And do you know what's going to go on? What's going to happen is that those Jews, because Israel over there in the Middle East has been destroyed. It looks like Gaza now. So where are those people going to go? Well, we know one place they want to go is Argentina, but they're sending the military here.
So the president of Argentina is the cousin of Netanyahu. There are two.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh my God!
They're children of two brothers.
Oh my! So
if you paid attention to FIFA, the Messi, Lionel Messi,
yes,
he's Israeli.
Mm-hmm.
See,
I,
so there you got to know this is something that they've been planning for decades. We're just
absolutely.
now coming on the scene, but they've had this strategically planned for a decade. They knew this was coming, and everybody's just playing their roles in this. But back to the military, if you saying you want them to really, most of them would have to resign on their own. But if this passes the Senate, they will not have a choice. And then I hear, even if we have our election in 2 years and we elect a Democratic president, they will not be able to undo this if it passed the Senate. There will be a merger, and that means Israel will have access to everything military, our intelligence, our secret services, our military guys. If they need the military will be disposable to them. That's why I wanted to.
Okay, well, let's save that for next week. We're gonna
Yes.
do some more investigation. I believe as a nation, and when we all join within this nation, United Aboriginal American Republic, that gives us the power and authority over these Caucasoid demons to file a petition to have our children released from this commitment.
I like that you call them Caucasoid demons. They're actually Nephilims.
Okay.
So that'll give
Yes.
some homework
I
for you guys
agree.
to
They
go and
are
read later.
Nephilim.
That spirituality is actually Nephilims. They lived on this planet before. They lived here before, and they destroyed it, by the way. But they're spiritual. We refer to them as Nephilims or reptilians.
I got you. We are aware. You read for those that want more information. Everything that Michelle just mentioned is in our book Lucifer's Revenge by Andre Hill Sr. and Andre Hill Jr. It explains the beginning, all of the other civilizations that were involved in our development, when, why, the Council of Nicaea, how they created this fake Christianity over 500 years. We cover everything. Hey, Chairman. So we're going to wrap it up. What's your final statement and what's going on in the cosmos?
Oh, in the cosmos. Well, there's a lot going on. There's a new comet that's just came into our solar system. They're not saying too much about it, but it's supposed to come close to Earth, I think between Earth and the moon. So everybody will be able to see it, you know. And my favorite scientist, Dr. Avi Loeb, he still won't admit that it's a comet. He just keeps that under his hat because he doesn't believe that 3I Atlas is an actual comet. And I can understand that, you know. But my final statement is Mother Earth, you know, and I say mother with emphasis that, you know, if it wasn't for mothers, we wouldn't be here. We all come from mothers. So let's get it together. And I'll land
And
that
she's
plane.
speaking right now.
Absolutely.
Oh, absolutely.
Hey, Shaz, you know, you've been making a lot of moves with the United Aboriginal American Republic Nation. Shaz is bringing in talented people like Michelle. What's your final statement? And you know, I always promote you as advocating healthy hair for our women to start separating from this system. Give me your final take.
My final take, I'm not even going to talk about here, okay? Not today. What I'm going to talk about is that segregation piece that just went by. I have always said that if desegregation, I thought was the worst thing. And based on, again, my childhood, in Trinidad, we have one of the largest bird sanctuaries. And I remember like 8 years old going to the sanctuary with my parents. At 6 o'clock in the evening, like when the sun set, all the birds will come into, what do we call it? They're coming back to their homes, right? The trees. Some of them, like on trees, may have various birds, but you know what I noticed at 8 years old? They all stuck together. You didn't have the flamingos hanging out with the scarlet ibis or the hummingbirds hanging out. They might have been in the sky flying around all day together, but when it was time to go home, they went to their roost wherever that was, okay? And like we always looking at the animals as an example of how humans should really be functioning on this planet. She tells us, you could probably work with those people. They don't have to come to your house. You don't have to go to their house either, all right? You ain't got to be that type of friend. We could get along in the workplace, and I know there's a code amongst white supremacy that says always find out what a nigga is thinking, but never let them know what you're thinking. And the problem is, we always telling them what we're thinking. We always telling them our next plan. We just gotta move in stealth. They don't have to know.
Yes.
We gotta move in stealth just like they're moving. When they find out about it, is because we did it 10 or 20 years ago.
Mm.
And I land that plane.
I agree with that.
Absolutely. So, and that's one of the messages we want to send out to. We keep this beacon out every Saturday at 11 to attract the star seeds, the ones that are recognizing, that understand what we're saying. But we're going to go into stealth mode pretty soon. So you guys, you out there, you need to make that choice and come on and join. Go to UAARnation.org and start the process so that we can represent a collective effort. Mama Kali, what are your final words?
We got to come together. My thinking is that we have to create an area, a rural area, and start from scratch, because right now, with the cities in dire disarray, um, we will not be safe in the cities. And so we must find land, rural land, where we can start from scratch and be who we are. And that's the final word.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Well, Michelini, you got you next to the final word. Our technician is going to close us out and tell us how to get with UAR. But go ahead, your
Oh, I
final
think I've
thoughts.
talked a lot. I just want to say thank you for having me this morning.
Well, we enjoyed you. You were very informative. You gave us some new information about Ben Netanyahu's brother or whatever it is. So that's a serious move. I always suspected that Argentina was the landing place for Hitler and all the Nazis after World War II, and they've been working on this
Exactly.
plan for quite some time. So,
Exactly.
there was another subject I wanted to talk about. We can take on to next week. I've seen a lot of videos of our women displaying themselves, a lot of fights going on with these younger generations. And so we're gonna, to the panel, if you want to come up with some resolutions, I asked them to send me what are they fighting about? We got to get to our women because you are
I
the
don't think they
matriarch.
know. I don't think they know because it's not by design. It's not by their plan. It's design.
Yes.
And I'll let you go, but it'll help us to elaborate when we do come back and talk about it some more. But the music industry mogul that just died recently, Clyde Davis, okay,
Mhm.
they get to the artists that we have, they do not have control of the music that is published. Number one. Number two, we have to remember that the Jewish community own the music industry, and they dictate what type of music that our black melanated artists can sing, or when they should sing it, or what have you. Even the portraying of these young women, the way they do in the videos to become the vixens, or to become the examples for our young children, is also by design. Again, it's all a strategic plan, divide and conquer. So when we talk to, because I raised two young girls, my oldest is 39, my youngest is 35. So raising them in this environment meant that I had to stay 10 steps ahead of what was taking place and understanding the industry in order to help them along today, where they're educated young women, not married, still have no children, because we didn't want them falling through the cracks. But those cracks are there for some of these young people that are falling through. So I think when we address this issue with our young people, we have to start with that in mind. This is a job being done on them. They're victims first. And then if
Right.
we go with that approach, we'll learn to really coach them and educate them along the way, because an educated mind function as such. But a lack of consciousness, lack of education provides you what we have today.
Absolutely. And also we have to realize that these demons that are in control of the government, they're in the process of shutting it down to create chaos and the firing of those 200+ thousand women from the federal government is going to create a very arduous situation for our women. And this is why we're moving expeditiously within this tribe to get our women out of this environment so they don't have to display. One video I saw this week, she was bent over and showing, I can see her tonsils and lungs from the rear end, and that's not acceptable. All
Yes.
right, so moving on, Andre Jr., you've been quiet. We need your final word, and you can go ahead and land this plane and take us out of here.
All right, all right. I think it's been a great show. I appreciate the entire panel that's here. Before we close out, though, family, to the audience, to our supporters, the links to our tribal government webpage is UAARnation.org. You can go there if you want nationality with our tribe, if you want to establish treaty with our tribe, if you have your own organization, clan, tribe of your own. Um, if you're looking to collaborate in general, go to our page, send us a message. We have a pretty astute staff that monitors all of our communications. We'll get back to you in a timely manner, and we'll figure out where our lines, well, where we align, and we can make some things happen. But family, we are on the move, and with the UR Nation, we're all about building. Y'all see us every Saturday here, but we probably one of the most meetingest tribes you've ever seen. We meet weekly to plan, plot, and strategize on moving forward. But I'll land that plane there. This has been a wonderful show. And as always, family, we love y'all. Peace out. We'll see you next week.